Today we're going to recap the year and talk a little bit about my creator journey. So do you want to ask me and then I explain, or how should I?
Just kick it off and then
Okay,
we'll
yeah,
flow
sure,
and then
sure.
and then I'll jump in with questions.
Yeah.
And we'll just
Okay.
have a conversation.
So I'm here today with Raven, one of my best friends. We met through crypto, of all things,
Yeah.
and we started making content. We went to Austin, Texas for South by Southwest, and that was kind of like probably one of the first moments I really was able to be in Raven's world as a creator and see kind of like how the day-to-day life, so the grind that we had from the Midwest all the way to here to Mexico City, and now we're heading to LA. So my creator journey, I know I was 23 at the time, and I was speaking at a conference in Hong Kong, of all places, about Twitter and before creator economy was the thing. And I had wrote this paper and I was speaking about how, online economies are going to exist so that creators can pretty much publish and create and monetize. And that was kind of like the first time that I was like in a room where I got to talk about kind of like the future of an industry. And that experience was very life-changing. It was my first time out of the country going to Hong Kong, and also got to visit Tokyo. And I think at that point, I really started to realize that my ideas could take me places. And at the time, I was pursuing a bachelor's degree, and I was really determined to, get a master's, become a trend forecaster, be a publisher. But instead, what I did is I got a mentor, and I ended up publishing in my undergrad, which really, I think, helped me excel kind of my learning and my experience. And right after that, I started my first company and got into the fashion industry. So all that was happening. I was very young. It was my first company. Ended up, being in Hong Kong, then went over to Europe, showed a menswear collection in London, and a lot of things were happening really fast. I took a few years off, and I think at that time I ended up just kind of traveling around a lot and still doing a lot of things with like fashion, and then starting to pick up, other freelance work, but still no real clear direction or clear voice when it came to like creating content. I knew that I wanted to work for myself. I really started to focus on like, well, what skills could I gain to really help me make more money as well as work remote? So it's like, there's before 2020 and then there's after 2020.
Yeah, literally.
So so around 2019, I got into Twitch streaming and gaming. So that was kind of my gateway into getting into crypto, because I think I was down in Miami, Art Basel in 2016 and learned about crypto, and then just was still listening to Bankless. That was the first podcast I ever listened to about crypto. Listened to every episode, looked up every word that I didn't know, and just kept studying and just like got really interested in it. So finally in 2019, I got into gaming, because I was into like shoutcasting and esports, competitive gaming. And then 2020 hit and I got on Clubhouse. So I'm in these rooms talking about gaming, but there's also in parallel, which I think Raven was probably in, some of the rooms talking about NFTs and crypto.
Word.
So it was like these two trending things were very much like getting a lot of attention, because all the advertising dollars that used to go out to, field sports and other industries were now being poured into online economies. So crypto really took off, gaming really took off, and I ended up hosting like a weekly Clubhouse room, and just meeting all these like I'm talking like incredible people from like traditional sports and advertising to like media to like artists. Like it was like everybody was online, so it just made everything so much faster reaching and networking with people. So I ended up networking and meeting this investor who knew about this company getting started in gaming and crypto, and he made the intro and I got the job. And that was kind of like my first like corporate experience, but also like in a startup, but realizing that I can be creative and work on a team. And that experience was just so much fun, because they were very well networked. They were cool founders. They both live in like New York and LA, and I got to go meet them. And the first company party that we had was with like ASAP Ferg.
Wow.
And it was just wild. I ended up like meeting him and like got a Polaroid and like just all these cool things where I'm just like, this is amazing. Like this is what a professional creator could look like and can do. So I started making this content, just documenting my journey. And I've always been into documenting my journey since I was in design school, to getting into gaming, to getting into tech. And that was something that I really just naturally like to just share my work, just show what I'm doing. I think a point that I really got to was like burnout before even having the vocabulary to understand what that is.
Yeah.
And it was just like feeling so stuck with like, I've done all these incredible things, like was going abroad, was traveling all the time, was around amazing people, but feeling very stuck as far as like emotionally and mentally on how I was kind of taking this all in and trying to figure out, well, what is going to be the best thing aligned with where I want to be. Because, putting things online, especially are a lot of things I'm glad that when I was younger I didn't put online because I was still growing up and becoming myself. I'm really glad that I just took some time off the internet, especially around 2020 till about now, just took a step back and really had to check in on myself and get a lot of things just kind of like, this is what I want to be doing, but how can I do it in a way where I'm not being burnt out, where I'm still able to have friends and have people that I'm meeting professionally and just be a more well-rounded person. So I really got into, well, I should say I finally got back into fitness, and that's something that I've always really enjoyed. And my passion of like working out, but really just helping people through like a transformation in life, really brought me back to that root of like, why did I get started sharing my story, as well as what are some other things I want to bring back into my life as I'm at a different stage in life. So that's something that I'm really glad to be doing and documenting more on this channel.